my fellow huggers, and welcome to the June Hugs Huddle. It's already been a great month. I'm Zooming today from Erie County, Pennsylvania. Whoa, I was just sharing a little earlier with some others that I'm here celebrating my parents' 70th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's, yeah, so what is the key to their long marriage? They loved it. You know, if the house is on fire, don't leave. That's what my mother loved that. So just stay and work it out. So you could barely hear the WI4C2T song, the Heart We Show, but we'll continue playing it through the months so you'll get to know it. This is a way we just, WI4C2Ts is how we decide at Keller Williams to treat people. So there's a newly released song that our lovely Lisa Hamilton Johnson put together. So take a bow, Lisa.
Woo-hoo.
Woohoo! Okay, ready, Lexi? So would you kick us off?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We'd like to welcome back our return huggers and a huge heartfelt hello to our first timers. We're so glad you're here. We are HUGS, which stands for Hope, Understanding, Grace, and Service. And it's our mission to inspire and uplift each other within the real estate community through kindness, leadership, and genuine care. Whether it's supporting a fellow agent in need or encouraging someone to overcome challenges, we're here to remind each other that we are all connected. So, tell me something good. Fire away. Tell us something good. We're going to think of someone who needs a hug. So I want everyone to take a second, think of a person that might need a hug right now. And then when I say go, unmute yourself and shout their name like you're sending them a hug across the miles. Ready? Go.
My dad.
Devon.
Matthew, my son.
Don Adams.
Awesome. I love it. So let's keep making a positive difference together in those lives. Text that person and tell them you're thinking of them and praying. And on that note, we just wanted to share an update. Esteban Muniz, who is in our ongoing Hugs and Prayers, Hugs in Action right now here at our Market Center. And this is an initiative we encourage other market centers to be a part of. So for those that don't know, Esteban Muniz, this incredible fighter right here, for the past year, he's been fighting a horrific battle with bone cancer, and he and his wife, Debbie, are an incredible inspiration of might and spirit, and in an effort as they are going through a financial hardship as well, we have put together a little creative fundraising. So Debbie is an incredible artist. She does, original canvas work, original canvas bags. She does custom requests, anywhere from $25 up to $200, depending on the size and the subject. So this is just a great way, whether it's for a loved one a client who enjoys all things creative. We encourage you to support them through this time of need and check out her artwork here. And for anyone that is interested in orders, you can contact Debbie here or email myself at lexishafalo@kw.com. Thank you all. Back to you, Kim.
So I want to, before we start, I really encourage you in all your offices to have initiatives moving forward to hug those that you uplift your communities. So before we dive in, the first thing on our agenda, we'd like to mention our head hugger for June, Mark Coward. Hey, Mark, are you there?
Woo-hoo.
I am, Kim. Hello.
Well, thank you for stepping in to this leadership role and embracing the HUGS mission. That's most important, embracing the mission with such heart and enthusiasm. Mark is a first-time hugger, but has an inspirational quote. So I'm going to let you share it. Go ahead, Mark.
Where was my inspirational quote? I forgot. Where was it?
You forgot? Small acts of kindness that remind us we're not alone. In times of challenge and celebration alike, giving back through service creates a ripple of love and community. Together, we can turn every moment into an opportunity to uplift others and build a brighter future. I know, Mark, that not only are you a hugger, but you have been a recipient of hugs. So how did that feel to be a hugger?
Well,
and to be a recipient?
to be a recipient, it was, it was,
Great, Roxanne. Yes, we're trying to see if we can get it reduced and
Oh.
okay. Anyway, to receive it was awesome. It was unexpected, and to have so many people think about you when you're kind of struggling with some health issues, and to get that, it was very nice, and it just shows the culture of our office and the people around us. So it was a blessing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mark, again. And at the end of the month, you will pass the baton to our very own Nancy Boyle. Yes, Nancy. I love already Nancy's heart to help others, especially the elderly. She just completed her designation for senior real estate specialist. What is that? SRES. It's to serve the senior population. And I think that's wonderful. Congratulations. And we look forward to working with you next month. And then now it is my pleasure to introduce to you. Okay, Brett, you'll have to help me pronounce your last name.
Korade, like parade with a K.
Oh, Parade. Okay, from LA, from Lab Realty Group in Northern Virginia. Brett is a genuine culture ambassador. He developed the Agent Touch program in his office. So join us as he discusses how to listen to your inner voice and engage deeply while avoiding drama. I'm listening.
So the this all kind of started, by the way, thank you, Kim and KW Hugs. Kim reached out after I kind of undertook this idea of we need to listen deeply into our organization, right? So my background is military, senior leadership, and being attentive to culture in any kind of squadron or unit is really, really important for the health and success of any kind of mission. And there's also very little room for any of the drama, as I would couch it, right? Because there is a very specific thing you're trying to accomplish, and having any kind of friction between groups or people is a really dangerous thing, whether they're turning wrenches on airplanes or they're sitting in the cockpit and flying it. So we had, over the course of 2 years at our market center, we had one person who was close to an agent, close to declaring bankruptcy. We had one person who was in the hospital for a month and nobody knew about the bankruptcy either. We had one person who was suicidal that nobody knew. So that's three people out of a market center of, at the time, just about 300 that nobody knew what they were going through in their life stressors. And when I'm on the ALC and when we found out about this, I just got very convicted about this. We've got to figure out how to not do this. And so I created a structured touch plan on how to reach out and touch everybody to let them know that somebody cares for them without it becoming like somebody whose job is to call 300 people. That's not a sustainable program. And so out of that, I spent a lot of time reflecting on how to how to serve people well in their pain without becoming one of two of the primary archetypes, right? So when we come across people that are suffering, that are dealing with pain, that I can kind of fill in the blank with anything that's in your mind right now, we generally have one of two responses. We either have the hero response or we have the passerby response. The hero response is, I want to help. And you lurch in and you lean in and you're like, oh, I want to figure out how to alleviate and fix and cure. The passerby response is kind of the self-defense response. It's, oh man, either that really opens up some very deep pain of my own that I really don't want to deal with, or I just have other things going on and I don't have time to deal with it, and you just kind of drive right by it. And really, when you see this, you need to A, learn how to recognize it, and B, learn how to engage with it, and C, learn how to do it at a safe and healthy distance. So let's talk about the first one, how to identify it. Just real quickly, there's that inner voice that says there's something not right. All right, certainly that's part of identifying when there's something that needs attention in somebody else's life. But it's not just the inner voice. There's specific things that you can look for. So some ideas of things that you can look for is responses to situations that seem out of the norm, okay, for this person, if you happen to know them. Responses to a situation that seem unbalanced or out of scale. They either get extremely agitated, a lot of volume, a lot of aggression, body language, verbal cues, or the other side of that, there's a significant withdrawal, there's a shrinking, there's a hanging of the head, there's kind of this knowing, like you kind of just read, they feel like, yeah, I do that all the time kind of feel, right? So there's ways to see it. You don't have to be a counselor. When you see that, generally speaking, what most people need in that time is they need to be seen and they need to know that they're not alone. What they don't need is a hero, and what they don't need is somebody who's just going to drive by. They just need to know that they're not alone and that somebody sees them in that place. And so the question becomes, all right, well, that's great, but how do I do that without climbing down into the pit with them? Especially most of the times these things happen very briefly and in the context of something else that's going on. So you don't have time to say, hey, how about we go grab a coffee, or can I buy you lunch, or whatever. So it has to be a very quick touch also. So the question becomes, how do I do that? So some thoughts. First, if somebody's in a place of pain and you recognize it and you ask them a they question, they're probably going to put up the wall. All right, so this sounds like, let's say paperwork didn't get signed on time. Kim's the listing agent, I'm the buyer's agent, and I'm reaching out to say, hey, what's going on? Are we still moving forward? All this. And Kim gets very agitated about her clients and DocuSign, and we all know Kim. That's not her, right? Like, this is not the way she would respond to that. So I'm immediately going, all right, there must be something else going on. If I said, Kim, are you okay? What's literally her very first answer going to be, and everybody else's is?
I'm okay.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm okay.
I'm
Right?
fine.
That's like 99.9% of people are going to say, I'm fine or I'm okay. And then they're just going to kind of stuff it down a little further so they can get through the interaction without feeling awkward and then move on. But there's been no value there. If instead I said something like, hey, Kim, this feels a little out of the ordinary for you and for the situation. Is everything okay? She might still say, I'm fine. And she might still say, I'm okay. But it comes from a place of, I've seen that there's something going on in your heart. In doing that, I'm giving Kim an opportunity to come through the door. I've opened the door. Are you okay is an accusational tone. Doesn't matter how you put it on, like how you couch it, it comes across as a finger. If it's just an observation of a behavior, hey, this seems like it's out of the norm for you. Is everything okay? She is much more likely to say, well, I just had an argument with my husband and it was over something stupid, but I don't know how many times I can tell him to put the cap on the toothpaste before it just, is got to get out of the. So observation. Hey, this looks like, this feels like, this seems out of the ordinary for you. This looks like, this feels like something that's not balanced, or, it's really not connected to just some unsigned paperwork. Open the door, give them the opportunity to walk through. If they walk through, right, you need to understand we are not counselors. Well, maybe some people here are licensed counselors, therapists, and all that, right? If somebody walks through the door and says, well, actually, fill in the blank with the problem that's going on in their life. My dad just passed away, or my mom is in the hospital, or my son has just told me that, fill in the blank, right? And I'm just, whatever it is. If they offer that, You don't need to get into a counseling session. What I would encourage you to do is just acknowledge that it's hard. It doesn't matter if you think it's hard for you or not, because it's not about you. So Kim shares a little something in that conversation. And I say, wow, Kim, that sounds really hard. I could see where that's probably something that would be really difficult. And I'm sorry you're going through that right now. Do you have somebody you can talk to? By asking that question, what you're saying is you should probably sit down and talk to somebody. This is obviously something that's weighing on your heart. But if you were to if you were to say that, like, think about the kinds of people that you're in relationship with, right? If you're talking to somebody who has a military background, or you're talking to somebody who has some trauma in their background, if you come across and say you should probably find somebody to talk to about that, I'm probably not going to take that very well, right? Like, we've met for, I mean, Kim and I know each other, but if somebody were to offer that just right out of the gate, I probably would not respond well, because you don't know me. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know my background. You don't know my baggage, right? So avoid avoid the directive kind of, hey, be get into talking to somebody and just acknowledge that they're having a hard time. Um, if you feel led, right, and I would urge a little bit of caution here, because this can lead into some deeper things. But if God's put on your heart that you should really kind of engage and share, don't make it about them. Just share a little bit about a parallel experience. My dad just passed away a year and a half ago. I still miss him every day. I can understand that pain. And I want you to know it doesn't get less painful, but it gets easier. Just realize when people are in pain, I'm going to go back to the first point. What they want is they want people to know they're in pain, and they want to know they're not alone. And you can do that without turning into a counselor, without sitting down for a therapy session, by just being a caring person. And like, I'm not a small guy. Like, when I stand next to people, sometimes it can be a little intimidating. And I am I'm very intentional about doing things that are off center from people's first expectations when they meet me. So, for example, if it's on my heart, I'll look at them, I'll go, "You look like you really need a hug." I'm a hugger. I'm an Italian. Hugging is kind of what I do. And you would be shocked at how many people just, they cry, I give them a hug, and then they take a deep breath and we just move on and everything's good. People want to be seen, and they want to know that somebody's there. And if you don't feel led to do that, something that I would encourage you as a kind of a parting comment that's worked well for me, that sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. If I don't feel led to share, I don't feel led to get into their space with an offer of a hug, I'll just look at them. I'll say, I need you to know something. I need you to know that no matter how alone you feel, you never are. Ever. Just that acknowledgement that people can be in a place where they feel lonely, but it's not real. It's a lie that's being whispered into their ears, is also something that can really, really help from a distance, without getting into the counseling and the therapy and all that kind of stuff. I would suggest that we see these people way more frequently than we would care to admit. I would suggest perhaps we are these people way more frequently than we'd care to admit. And so when you're walking around for the rest of the day, I would just challenge you, when you're looking at everybody, like, literally, while you're looking at people on the metro, as you're driving down the road, as you're walking through the office, as you're taking a stroll on the sidewalk, when you see people, just look at them and say, God, show me something about them. And just be obedient to that. Smile, wave, kind of hard to have a conversation. If you're in a car and you look and you catch somebody's eye, smile, wave. The person that's trying to cut you off, back off, let them in, and then smile and wave at them as they're looking in their review mirror. Do something that's out of the ordinary for somebody else. There you go.
Thank you so much, Brett. It's interesting because when I met you, I immediately resonated with your kindness. And by the way, here's my brother. I want you guys to meet.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
They go to the same church. So, but it's interesting that you talk
He goes
about.
to our church.
He does go to.
Oh, he
Yes,
goes
we go to Cornerstone. We usually hit the 8:15 or the 10:30.
Oh, we go to the late one because my wife has a horse and she's got to do chores in the morning. So we do that. We
Outstanding.
usually do noon, but
Well, I'm looking for you guys to hook up
Yeah, we'll
sometime. I
do
think
that.
it'd be really cool.
We will bump into each other, I guarantee.
sure.
So I saw your kindness from the first phone call that we had together, and that this happened recently to me. My dad fell and really hurt himself and was in a wheelchair, and there was one of the huggers among us who you recognized, what's going on, Kim? And she didn't do anything, but she followed up with even as much as today on our call when we shouted out somebody who needed a hug, I heard her shout Don Adams, which is my father. And so what you just said to us, I hope that we all heard it and carry it on in our life. So thank you so much for your heartfelt message. And I pray for those that were in a tornado in McLean.
There was a tornado. Yes.
There was a tornado and they were all clean.
Something. Derecho or a tornado snapped a bunch of treetops off right here around McLean Bible Church.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like Chelsea mentioned that yesterday when she was driving. She was literally on that part of the highway, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lisa, we'd like for you to catch us up with what's going on with our Hugs in Action.
Well, first of all, thank you, Kim and Brett. And Brett, I mean, this is definitely, I want to rewind this one. I think there's a lot more, and I'd love for us to, maybe our market center might even get you to do some more, some powerful stuff that I think there are many lessons there. Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. And I think that really kind of sums it up. Lexi talked about just, if you or someone needs a hug, maybe celebrate a win or just to lift a heavy heart. Reach out to our head hugger, Mark Howard this month, and soon to be Nancy Boyle. Stay connected with us. We have a Facebook group. We have our YouTube. And we also have some amazing merchandise. You can get a t-shirt, I Am a Hugger. It's a great conversation piece. Or you can even get a blanket. And it's a wonderful blanket because it feels good, right? And Maya Angelou said, they may not remember your name, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And I guarantee you that blanket will be part of it. So check out the Hugs gear. And with that, I go right back to Kim.
Thank you, Lisa. And speaking of Hugs blankets, I sent one up to Ormond Beach to someone who's going to Moffitt for cancer treatment. And I received a text that said, I'm going to Moffitt today and my blanket's going with me. So it's in action. The blankets are in action. So thanks for joining our Hugs Huddle. You embody hope, understanding, grace, and service. So be a hugger and share your story on Facebook because it's all about stories. If you don't share our stories, we can't inspire the world and force the movement. So our next huddle is Friday, July 18th. By the way, it's the day after my birthday. With an inspiring guest, Natasha Tello. Don't miss it. Once again, we just have such amazing people who are coming on. If you need a hug, reach out, see someone who does, give one, spread kindness. So here we go. Before you go, I want you to put your right hand on your left hand on your right shoulder, your right hand on your left shoulder, and squeeze because you deserve a hug today. So go out and be a hugger. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Brett, for doing
Bye,
this today.
everyone.
Everyone, look forward to meeting you, Brett.
Hugs to everyone.
Bye.